Question of the day. What is your favorite way to upgrade games? Are you someone who loves card sleeves? There's a huge world of talk about card sleeves as far as are they necessary? Is it something you like? Will this insert fit my card sleeves, etc.? Card sleeves I've really come to appreciate the value in card sleeves only recently, actually, because of playing games that I've played so many times and I'm like, all right, I need something to protect these games. To that end, I will be giving away a full set of Gamegenic card sleeves for Marvel Champions in this. So you would get 50 Iron Man, 50 Captain America, 50 Spider-Man, 50 Black Panther, 50 Captain Marvel, and 50 She-Hulk card sleeves to play with any game really, but definitely Marvel Champions with. So that's 300 card sleeves that somebody's going to get. So post in the comments below, hey, I'd like to win because, or something like that. I'd like to win this contest. So it doesn't have to be because. That's silly. Obviously, you'd like to win because you want to win. But post in the comments, hey, I'd like to win. That'd be awesome. In the comments below, and I will give that away to one lucky winner in there. To that end, we are also looking at the Elegoo Mars 3D printer. It's the Elegoo Mars Pro 3D printer. This is a very accessible price point 3D printer to where you say, I don't know about 3D printing. That seems really, really steep, really high. We're going to take a look at this 3D printer. It's not very expensive. It can print, it's a resin 3D printer, which means it's going to have incredibly high quality images that will come out of it that look like something you bought in a game. The resin prints are so phenomenally high quality nowadays that you can print something up and people are going to think, wow, that must have come with the game, or wow, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to be looking at the Elegoo Mars 3D printer itself, as well as some of the prints and things like that. So that's what this video is all about, upgrading your game. So long intro, I know, but let's get into looking at, I just want to show you really quick these Gamegenic card sleeves, and then we'll talk about the Elegoo Mars right now. So the card sleeves, first and foremost, I really like this Gamegenic card sleeve system because they're light. Now hear me out by that. I have always hated when I pick up card sleeves that feel bulky and large and they're heavy for each. I get it if you're trying to preserve a card or something like that, but an entire deck of cards in a card sleeve thing is just, it's cumbersome, right? Now I'm a magician. That's what I do for a living. Stage magic, stage illusions, what we normally do, but I started with card illusions and I still love card magic. So tactily, cards are something I'm very attuned to. The idea of, do these feel good in the hand? The Gamegenic card sleeves feel good in the hand. They feel good around the cards. They don't feel bulky and excessive. They feel just the right size. Not to mention the images on the back of these, especially if you're playing Marvel Champions, or heck, you could throw this on some of the other games like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure Crisis Protocol has cards that will fit this, but any game that's Marvel related, or heck, not even Marvel related, I mean, you could put these on Royal Rumble for that matter. You know, the card size fit, but the point is this, they just look good. They look nice. They're officially licensed Marvel products, so that's awesome. And they just look good on the table. But my big thing about them is they feel good. You can shuffle them good, and that's what I love. Now, no, it's still never easy to do a Pharaoh shuffle with sleeved cards unless you do them back to back. The sealed ends back to back. You can then Pharaoh those cards, but you can Pharaoh shuffle these if you do them back to back. You can do it front to front or on the sides at least. But the downside of that, if you get into the opening, it causes some issues. So that's sleeves anyway. And that's one of the reasons I always avoided them at first. But now they're made so well. So get a pack of these. Also, again, enter the contest below to win a full set of these. Again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs of 50 sleeves, 6 different art styles. So there, takes care of that. Go get you some of these card sleeves. They look good, they feel good, they're nice. It's kind of a no-brainer if you're looking to preserve and upgrade your game. Now, let's take a look at a completely separate upgrade. What did we think, or what do we think about the Elegoo Mars 3D printer, Mars Pro 3D printer? So here's some footage of the setup and leveling and some prints that have come from it. I didn't film a ton of the printing. I don't know that I even filmed any of the printing because it's actually kind of boring to watch. I will explain the 3D printing process because, again, you can't see it while it's printing. What's happening is you're putting resin in a vat. So this is a liquid resin product. It's a UV reactive resin. You put it into the vat. The arm comes down with the build plate into the vat of resin. The light in the bottom of the screen, and this one has a nice light in it. It's a 6-second exposure, sometimes 7, depending on your print itself. Per layer. So if something has 1,000 layers, you can do the math in your head. That's usually 40 seconds for the base layer and 6 seconds per layer after that. That seems like a lot, 6,000 seconds. But then you start breaking it down and you're like, okay, you know, that's only what, 10 hours or what? I don't know. I probably butchered that math right there. So whatever it is, it's not that long. Like, these prints can go quickly. So here's some of the footage of it setting up and things like that, and we'll come back to our final thoughts about everything. Incredibly shiny build plate here. It's not the largest build plate in the world, but again, this is for that small size, mid size range 3D printer for resin here. But this is nice. This arm is very nice, and we're gonna put it on, put it together, get it leveled, and get some printing going on. So we're gonna level the print bed right now. Now we're gonna use the paper method that it recalls for. There are some other third-party ones that I actually like a little better, but we're gonna use it straight out of the box, just like you would get the instructions with. Now it appears to be somewhat self-leveling. It appears to you loosen those Allen screws and then you hit that home and it will self-level somewhat. So I'm very curious if this is going to work instantly out of the box. That's a phenomenal update if that's the case. So it's at this point you can put your 3D printer USB stick into the printer. Then we're going to fill the resin vat. There is a max line there, so don't ever fill over that line. You may want to use gloves and a mask to do this. But if you're quick with it and you're clean, you can avoid some of that, but definitely use gloves anytime handling the uncured resin. We're going to be using this resin today. It was sent with the package. It's 500 grams of ABS-like photopolymer resin. It's a clear blue color, so let's see how it looks. So that's the Elegoo Mars Pro 3D printer. Now this is the baseline. There is an Elegoo Mars, but this is the baseline of the kind of upgraded set. They have a Mars Pro 2. They have a Saturn, which is a much larger build plate. I want to get my hands on one of those and let you know how those are as well. But for this size, this is a fantastic printer. Now here's what I like about it. I have other 3D printers that are resin 3D printers. But what it does, what I like about this one is even just that 2-second difference between my other 3D printer that's resin and this one. If you start doing the math, 2 seconds can really change if you're talking about 2,000 different layers, you know, or however many layers you got on there. It's a lot of layers. 2 seconds each starts to add up to minutes, you know, to 30 minutes to almost an hour sometimes. Here's what I do love. I love how clean this build plate is. It's really smooth, almost too smooth at first. It almost needs to get scuffed up a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute, but stuff comes off of it very easy, and that's something I love. One of the things I hate when I'm processing 3D prints with resin prints is that they can be a pain in the butt to get off that build plate. This one's not the case. It actually comes off the build plate very nicely, which leads to the only issue I had with the printer, and it's not so much the printer itself, it's actually user interface, manual, mechanical, analog user interface with the printer. I do not recommend using the paper leveling method. Yes, it will level, but it's never going to be quite perfect until you get in there. And usually it's a good idea to put your FEP screen in and then level it with the FEP screen on there, because that screen, even though it's, you know, minuscule, it's microscopic, that screen still adds some depth in layers between the build plate and between the light. So having it in there when you do your leveling is a smart idea. So loosen the Allen screw, put it down into where it hits the plate, and then make sure it's straight and make sure it's level against that plate. Not too tight, but to where you can't move it or anything like that, and it's straight and flat and level. Then tighten the Allen screw, come back up, do a test print, and you will find that that will stay level for a long, long time. Any problems in printing with this one? Well, no. Except one thing, if you're not careful in your software, if you're using Chitubox or something like that, if you're not careful with how you align this on your software, if you put it over the edge, it'll warn you and say it's over the edge. Well, sometimes that's okay because there's actually a built-in buffer, but if you put your supports a little too far, it's going to fail, obviously. Now, however, can it fail from just printing? I ran into a few failed prints with this one before I re-leveled it. After I re-leveled it, it's been a charm. It's been so great. The little pieces that come straight out of the box, they printed fine. There are some cool miniatures from my Miniature Factory that come on the thing as well, so take a look at those and print those. All in all, end of the day, how does this 3D printer stack up to other 3D printers? It's a fantastic entry-level resin 3D printer. It gets the job done. It's easy to use. I like the fact that the top comes off. I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love it because it gets completely out of the way. I hate it because I have to find somewhere to sit it down. You know, in the shed that or the building that I work in, it's sometimes trying to find that place when I'm not, you know, trying to put something else on is a pain in the butt, but that's a silly problem to have. All in all, love this printer. If you are looking for a resin 3D printer to get started with, I 100% recommend this one. I have an Anycubic Photon as well, Photon S, and the print quality is basically the same, but this one is just, it's a little easier to use in my opinion. It's just the way it feels less knacky. It's a good printer. I would recommend this all day, every day. The Elegoo's got a good system. I really love that clear blue resin that you saw in the prints. It looks good. That Juggernaut that I printed, some of those were printed on the Elegoo and some of them were printed on the Anycubic, and you notice there was a warp in the base. That was not done on the Elegoo, by the way. That's not throwing shade at Anycubic, but I'm just saying that base was done on the Anycubic. The rest pretty much was done on the Elegoo. And so seeing that Mars Pro print out this amazing looking Juggernaut figure is great. Now you can get pretty tall on these builds too. We do a final trick on our show which involves some really nice sized superheroes that I've printed up and painted and everything like that, and so the size is great, but usually the size you're looking for these are bits for board games, which you saw, tokens and things like that, tokens and chits and things that you can replace with nice resin materials that you can paint up, and miniatures. You're going to be painting miniatures with this hands down. The supports are easy and all that sort of stuff. That's a software thing, not so much a printer thing, but it's really good. It's a great printer to get started with. If you're looking to get into resin printing, go get you an Elegoo Mars Pro right now. The price point's good. The printer itself will last you a long time, and that screen is very nice. How it's quick, but it's clean and it does its job. So, and it's precise. The precision on these, the miniatures look fantastic. So I'm a big fan of the Elegoo line. I look forward to, you know, dipping my toe further into what they have to offer. But in case you're wondering, that is my recommendation. So Gamegenic, definitely go get some of these sleeves and go get you an Elegoo Mars too, Elegoo Mars Pro if you're looking to get into entry-level 3D printing resin style. I'm Bryan Drake. Just be careful. The resin's a pain in the butt to deal with, but that's any resin printer, and you know that ahead of time. Gloves, mask, it's smart to do. So, I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.